Everyone. Today we're going to try to understand what are the major difference or how do PTSD and ASD differ from each other. Or ASD means acute stress disorder, PTSD means post-traumatic stress disorder. Uh, Acute stress disorder, when we try to understand how does acute stress disorder differ from PTSD, acute stress disorder was first or initially introduced in DSM-4 in 1994, and in DSM-5, which was established in 2013, acute stress disorder was reclassified into the category of stress and trauma and stress related disorder. For a diagnosis of acute stress disorder, we need to the symptoms of the trauma, the symptoms which a person experience or post-traumatic symptoms should be there for a minimum period of 3 days to 1 month. If this particular period is over a month, then the clinician must check for the possibility of PTSD. The clinician must assess for PTSD, and no ASD or acute stress disorder no longer will apply if the condition or the post-traumatic symptom persists after a month. Now just try to understand what are the major difference or how do PTSD and ASD differ. ASD and PTSD share the same requirement. That is one major thing about it. So with these two disorders share the major requirement for exposure to a traumatic event. That is the criteria in the diagnostic criteria for both the disorder. So many of the acute stress disorder symptoms are similar to the PTSD symptoms. Okay, so yet ASD and PTSD are different in several ways. So just try to understand what are the major differences. So PTSD diagnosis requires meeting a certain number of symptoms within an established clusters. But for ASD, symptoms are not classified within clusters. Therefore, an individual need diagnosis based on the expression of symptoms in total. In PTSD, it is cluster wise. Here, it is the wholesome they are considering it. In total, how many symptoms are expressed? That is what is we consider in ASD, but PTSD it is cluster wise. And PTSD, another important thing is in PTSD includes non-fear based symptoms, example, risky or destructive behavior, overly negative thoughts, and assumptions about oneself or the world, or exaggerated blame of self, etc., or negative affect, or decreased interest in activity. So all these things, whereas all these things are few examples. So PTSD include all these non-fear based symptoms, whereas ASD does not. And PTSD includes a dissociative subtype, whereas in ASD, depersonalization and derealization, those are the dissociative symptoms. These are included as symptoms under the dissociative heading. So these are the few major differences which you can observe in when it comes to diagnosing PTSD and ASD. Thank you.